The dark side of football. So even though I would say I'm not particularly a football fan and I haven't watched football for several years, I would say that the recent events in regards to the Euro Cup in England versus Italy truly moved me. As I looked at this young gentleman who's called Saka, he's 90 years old. He grew up in London and his parents are from Nigeria. This young gentleman is 90 years old. He has his career intact. I honestly cannot say that at 19, I honestly knew exactly what I wanted to do and I was booming in my career. But we see with Jan Saka, that is his case. He's in his career, he's young, and he has a net worth of £1.8 million. And it saddened me because honestly, we do not see the behind the scenes, how much he's worked towards where he is now. But because he missed the penalty, he was not even seen as a footballer. He was just seen by his colour. And that truly made me feel quite devastated. As I reflected upon this, I realized how I was affected by this. And I realized how this was something that just reminded me of continual things that I've been witnessing in terms of race and in terms of experiences that I've gone through in the past. This for me was racial trauma. As I was reflecting on this, I saw as well the power of taking care of myself and making sure I do the necessary thing that I need to get myself back into shape. But also, I use this time to express my emotions and not to suppress this. So, based on this and thinking about this recent event in terms of the dark side of football and how just in a given moment we can just go through a distressing situation, I want to talk today about self-care. So in today's presentation, we'll be going through what self-care is, the research that supports the use of self-care, mostly within work settings, and also the possible barriers to self-care. And we'll be also going through how you can also start your own self-care practices. So first things first, we are now going to define what self-care is from a number of things online and also organizations like WHO. So what is self-care? So here we see self-care is a part of daily living. It's not just this thing you do once and every time, but it's a part of daily living. It is a care taken by individuals towards their own health and well-being, and includes the care extended to their children, family, friends, and others in their neighborhoods and local community. So here again, self-care is highlighted for us to stay fit, to maintain good physical and mental health, to meet social and psychological needs, to prevent illness or accidents, to care for minor ailments and also long life conditions. So we see maintaining health and well-being is very key in terms of thinking about self-care. Others also say that self-care is something one does to improve their sense of subject of well-being, and also it's how one obtains a positive rather than a negative life outcome. And lastly, it is intrapersonal work, interpersonal support, professional development and support, and physical recreational activity. So this is basically what studies show self-care is and what the WHO, the World Health Organization defines self-care. So what are some components of self-care? So researchers have shown that these are some areas in terms of self-care: physical self-care, psychological, spiritual, and support. So all of these are linked to what self-care is. So now we are going to go and just read you some studies in pertaining to showing how effective self-care is within the work profession industry, whether you work at home or whether you work in an organization. Self-care has been shown to improve well-being, even though going through stressful events. So some research I'm going to share with you, it says that medical students who engage in self-care report less stress and a high quality of life. So this is a recent study in 2019. Richards also shows that mental health professionals experience improved well-being from self-care. and also a study, this one is really recent, 2020, which done a study, and it showed that healthcare professionals improvement after 8 weeks of self-care group interventions literally showed an improvement. So they had better scores in personal development, lower scores on depression, anxiety, stress, and they had increased perceived resilience and compassion. So we see with this as well that self-care is also so important within the working life balance. So lastly, again, this study showed that work professionals had lower depressive symptoms after using a web-based self-care intervention. So we see from these studies that self-care can improve health and well-being in work settings. So today I'm saying, self-care is essential. So as we see, this is a warning sign, and I'm now going to share with you why it's very important, especially within mental health professionals. Of course, for everyone, but here I'm specifying to mental health professionals. So it says, as mental health professionals are susceptible to impairment and burnout that may negatively affect clinical work, it is ethically and imperative that we engage in self-care. So as a mental health professional, we are not just there for ourselves, but we're also working with others. So self-care is truly essential. And here again, I'm having the warning sign to remember that self-care is essential. So next, I'm going to continue this thought of, self-care is a duty. So self-care is a duty. So I'm going to ask this question. It says, what happens when we as mental health professionals fail to practice self-care? So there's so much, about this. And there was a really nice article that I read that was talking about nurses and also their failure to practice self-care, what that can do, not only for themselves, but also for the patients they work with. So think about this. If nurses are tired, unable to focus, stressed, or lack motivation and continue caring as nurses, they may not be able to provide the care that they should give to other people. So it shows yet that nurses who suffer burnout or neglect their own needs, they may also leave the profession, or those who are suffering from things like burnout and things like that, it may also impact negatively the care that they have for individuals. So it really shows that we as mental health professionals, it's very crucial for us to see that self-care is a duty. It's not just this happy thing we do, but it's also for ourselves as well to also help others. Because there's a saying that, we can't pour a glass to someone who when we do not have any water. So we have to fill our glass in order to be able to give other people that water. And also as well, I remember when you're traveling on the airplane, it says, make sure you are safe, you're secure before helping someone else. So it just really shows as well that us taking care of ourselves can also influence positively those who we care for. And on the opposite side, if we're burnout, stress, or lacking motivation, that can really worsen the care that we provide for other people. So now I just want to talk about, the common barriers to self-care, because of course, self-care is a very nice thing. It sounds great and wonderful, but I do want to highlight that there are some common barriers to self-care. So a barrier to self-care could be, here on this picture, we see guilt, unexpected expectations, difficulty creating new habits, lack of time. Also, it could be no motivation for self-care, feeling guilty about spending money for self-care, because I feel right now there's been a thing where organizations are really showing that self-care is going to these lavish places, but we are to remember that self-care doesn't even have to cost anything. It literally can be a walk, but it just has to be something meaningful for you. Also, a common barrier could be, a lack of awareness of your own needs, thinking that, self-care is a lack of weakness, or even just thinking generally that, I'm not allowed, to have this time or self-care because I'm a mother, or things like that, or you feel you may have to put other people's needs first, or thinking that self-care takes too much time. So these are some very common barriers of, practicing self-care, but these ones are usually the major ones from what I've looked at in terms of studies. So this is not an extensive list, but we're going to now talk about some ways to actually overcome these barriers. So one thought could be dialectical thinking. So this is basically thinking that have two opposing beliefs, so can be true at the same time. So you don't have to wait. If you're feeling guilty about self-care, you do not have to wait till all the guilt is removed before practicing self-care. So if you're a mother, you could say something like, I feel guilty about taking away time from my children to recharge, but I'm still going to do it. I'm still going to practice self-care. So both of these are true. The person does feel guilty because, they believe in this time that having time away can be a form of guilt, but they're saying that they are going to practice self-care. So we have seen through this that dialectical thinking can be helpful in overcoming the barriers that stop you from practicing self-care. And we see here the next one again, I'm reading lean on your support system. So share with a trusted friend, a family member, or therapist about your struggle to kind of prioritize self-care. So sometimes expressing our feelings out loud or getting a reality check from those around us that we trust can be that boost to move forward and to help you with your goals in terms of practicing self-care. So another thing is to say and write down loving messages to yourself. So I am worthy of love, I am fearfully and wonderfully made, because when we see ourselves that we are worthy of self-care, we're probably more likely to practice it. So it's not going to be easy, but have those affirmations that remind you that you are worthy of self-care, you are worthy to be loved and all the things. Say the things that are meaningful to you. So also, again, start small. Sometimes when we think of self-care, we think of this big grand thing. Break your self-care into different parts and start small. Another thing is understanding that it doesn't have to cost much. Many a time there's this big gadgets or saying that this is self-care to do this, but remember, it doesn't have to cost much. It can be generally going outside, having fresh air, doing arts and crafts, making a meal, doing something that really resonates with you, something that you feel connected when you do it. Also, another is having an accountability partner, and that also links to the second point in leaning on your own support system. And learn to say no, because honestly, sometimes because of our lack of boundaries, it can literally stop us from practicing self-care, because we get to that stage of burnout saying yes, yes, yes. But look in the mirror if you're finding it hard and say no, 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 you can do it. I believe in you. So overcome these barriers by learning to say no. And also put self-care on your calendar in the same way we may put events like, work meetings or a doctor's appointment. Prioritize self-care and put it on your appointment, put it on your calendar. Say 20 minutes, I'm going to do this, 30 minutes, I'm going to do this, or even 5 minutes. Start small and schedule it in your busy routine. So yes, now we have looked at overcoming the barriers. I now want to share with you how to develop a self-care routine. Before that, let me share some aspects of self-care. And I'm just going to say, self-care relates to what you do at work, but also out of work to look after your whole health, your health and well-being, so you can basically meet your personal and professional commitments. So below, I'm going to share with you some things about self-care. So remembering as well, self-care is personal. It's not just doing random activities. It's doing that thing that really resonates for you. So for one person, going outside in nature can just make them feel at peace and at ease. And for one person, that's not really a big thing for them. It doesn't connect them or make them feel, as much as something else would. So remember that it is personal, and everyone's approach to self-care will be different. So it's person-centered. Self-care is person-centered. So aspects of self-care are things like, work or professional place pertaining to that, physical, psychological, emotional, spiritual, relationships. So there's many aspects to self-care. So first, we are now going to talk about the work and professional parts of self-care. So this involves activities that will help you work consistently and also improve your professional level that is expected of you. So this could be engaging in regular supervision. So for me on my role, we have supervision every week, and this could be individual supervision or group supervision. And this is a space as well where I can share cases that I'm working in that I may find quite difficult. And here I get advice from my supervisor, but also my colleagues. So this is a way of self-care within a work setting. So again, at a work setting, if you feel as well that you're going through difficulty. So for example, if you're from a diverse background or if you have neurodiversity, if you're neurodivergent, it might be helpful for you to join support groups like that, to join things, that are relevant to you, that helps you during your workplace environment and also your professional growth. So, set up a peer support and reflection group. And also generally, this could be also support groups with your colleagues so that you can help each other in your workplaces and having that environment where you can share things with one another. So one that I would really say is key is maintaining boundaries. I'm a lover of boundaries, and not only, having boundaries between clients, but also having boundaries with staff and also your working environment. Because sometimes when we are pushed to the other side and we don't keep those boundaries, we get frustrated, we start to probably get angry and we wonder what this is. But I honestly believe that when we go outside of our boundaries, that is when we have frustration. But if we maintain boundaries, we can have a healthy workplace environment, and that could feed into our physical health, our emotional health, psychological health. It just spans to all other things. Again, having self-care in workplace could be keeping up to date with relevant knowledge, such as, attending professional development programs or also training. So the next one is physical self-care. So this relates to, staying fit and healthy and having enough energy to get you through work, but also through your personal commitments. So physical self-care could be developing a regular sleep routine. So maybe sleeping at the same time, at the same day, each and every day, get that routine in, having enough hours that are suitable for you, eating a healthy, balanced diet, taking your lunch breaks, don't be working over your lunch break. Take that hour, that half an hour, or how much time is dedicated, take your lunch breaks. Also go out for a walk for lunchtime. Today, I was able to go for a short walk just for 20 minutes around the block, after I ate. And that was just so nice just to allow my food to digest and just to have that short time in nature. I didn't have as much time today, but it was nice to just have that time where I could go out and have a short walk. So I would say as well, use your annual leave and your sick leave. Don't just allow it to pile up and then you don't have enough time, to actually take your annual leave. Make sure throughout the year you're taking off breaks and you're taking off annual leave or even sick leave if you're ill. Also, I would recommend, if possible, if this is something that believes resonates with you, get some exercise before and after work regularly. It doesn't have to be big, weight training. You can literally just be going for a walk, skipping, doing something, small, and just to get your day going. So next, I would say is psychological self-care. So this is basically any activities that help you be clear-headed, that allow you to be able to engage, with your professional challenges that are found within your work or also your personal life. So psychological self-care could be writing a journal. Studies show that, there's benefits in actually keeping a reflective journal. It just shows that there's power in, having this wonderful journal that we have. So get it writing, it allows you to express yourself and also to put things to paper. I would also say, seeking and engaging in external supervision as well, or regularly consult with more experienced colleagues. So having a wide range of support within you. So you may be required to have one supervisor, but if you can, multiply in terms of try to get more supervision as you can, just to have different outlooks as well, and to be able to help you in your growth. Also, again, engage in non-work hobbies. Yes, we have work, but it's also important for us to engage in hobbies outside of work, so we can just have that time, where we are just focusing on other things. Also, one that I truly believe in is turning off your email and work phone outside of work hours. As I'm recording this video, I'm just doing it after our presentations, and my laptop is shut, my phone is shut, because I honestly believe it just allows me to disconnect from work at the end of the day. So another thing is to make time for relaxation. So whatever that is for you, whether that may be having a bath allows you to relax, reading a book, or socializing, make time for relaxation. As I said before, self-care is personal. It's personal to those around us, it's personal to yourself, it's personal, it can be different to those around you. That's what I meant. So yeah, and also make time to engage with positive family and friends. The reason why I put positive, because when we're around people and the environment may be quite toxic, or it may be quite harmful to us, that can affect our health and well-being. So please, make time to engage with positive family and friends. So the next one is about emotional self-care. And this is about allowing yourself to experience a full range of emotions. As you can see on this picture, this person here is able to show a full range of emotions. So that is emotional self-care. So this could be develop friendships that are supportive, write things down that you are thankful for each day. And this is something I like to do, whether in the morning or evening, just to write a few things that I'm thankful for. And I tend to think when I write it in the evening, I wake up thinking, oh, wow, even though I'm going through this difficult time, there's still some things in my life that I can resonate to and think, wow, at least I have this, at least this is going well in my life. So have a thankful diary. Also do something else that you enjoy, get that, experience of enjoying yourself, do something that resonates with you, have a safe place, because I honestly believe that having that safe space is allows you to have that emotional place where you can release your emotions. If you're sad, if you're happy, that in that space you can express yourself, whether that is, at home, whether that is at a friend's house. Have a safe space where you can go. Also, keep meeting with your support group. So if you're struggling at work in terms of, let's just say you feel that at your workplace is uncomfortable in terms of like diversity, keep meeting with with your support groups, because this could also be a safe space where you can talk, and you can talk about the difficulties and challenges that you're going through within your workplace or even in your personal life. So depending on what issue it is, find a relevant support group. Also, talk to a friend about how you're coping with your work and life demands. So making sure that you again have this a safe space, whether it's talking to friends, family, talk to those people, allow your emotions to be known to those who you can trust, so that you can just have that freedom to express yourself. Um, Again, I would say, oh, I've just already had it there. So this one was about basically, oh yeah, spiritual self-care. So this involves having a sense of perspective beyond day-to-day life. So for me, this is really important to me, because I honestly believe, in my faith, I believe in God, I'm a Christian. So this part of self-care is very important to me. So things could be, going out in nature and being still. So if you've been having a stressful day, for me personally, I tend to probably go out in nature, even when things are well, because that is what really resonates with me. I'm able to be still and also reflect on the things that I've learned through the scriptures or things like that. So depending on what situation you're going through or what faith you are, this could be basically going to a church, a mosque, or a temple. And in some parts of the world, we're unable now to basically go out to church. So this could be basically on the day, where you tend to worship, go online, join some things, but I also as well like to have some time off soon. So it kind of depends. I may join something or also lead out in a program. And that just helps me stay connected with people of like-minded faith. And that also increases the community that I believe is essential, because we are all truly social beings. Another thing could be meditating on positive things. So for me, it could be meditating upon God's word. I'm fearfully and wonderfully made. I'm a child of God, meditating upon the things which I find positive, or even just general things like, I believe that today is going to be a good day. Have those thoughts as you wake up, and also as well reflect with a close friend, a family member, or someone who you truly trust for support. So that's what I would say are some examples of spiritual care. So yes, the slide is going. And this next one, as you can see, it's about relationships. But I would say relationships doesn't only pertain to, romantic relationships, but it's generally relationships with other people. As I mentioned, we are all social beings. So this is about maintaining healthy and supportive relationships and ensuring that you have diversity in your relationship. So you're not only connecting with work people, but you're connecting with people outside of work. So for me, that may be connecting with friends, connecting with people from my church, connecting with people from just different parts of my life. So having a diversity in terms of the relationships you have. So this could be prioritizing close relationships in your life, for example, partner, family, children, and this could also be your religious community. Also attend special events of your family and friends, because this helps us to build, positive memories that we have. And also, as you arrive to work, leave on time each and every day. Let's not get that bridge between work and our lives. So make sure as we're leaving work to leave work on time each day. So in this next one, I just want to read a key part from a paper that I was reading, and it was really nice. It was a paper about, self-care of physicians who care for patients at the end of life. And I took out this extract with this doctor, and it was just so nice to just see what self-care looked like for him, because as mentioned before, as mental health professionals or even working in healthcare, it can be quite difficult experiencing things like, death on a daily basis or common basis, or dealing with people's dark, thoughts or emotions, and things like this can be quite distressing. So it's important for us to have self-care. But as I mentioned, self-care for everyone is different. And this is what it looks like for Dr. C. So I'm just going to read it out. It says, almost every night, my 7-year-old daughter comes running into my arms when I come through the door. It's like she barrels into me at all full speed. If my hands are empty and I'm not able to absorb the force of her, we'll both be bowled over. It's almost like the physical impact literally shocks me physically into being connected with my family and not with work when I step over the threshold. I love it. That's definitely a key to my survival. It's nothing I asked for. It just comes from the heart. So this was just so amazing just to see a doctor's experience. He works with patients who are end of life, and for him, this was his form of self-care. Every night, to seeing his 7-year-old daughter run into his arms, and it just allowed him to just know, yes, I'm at home now. I've disconnected with work, and this is just something for him that is really essential in surviving when working in a very conducive environment. So I just thought to share that. So now we'll just go over just some ways to create your own self-care plan. So in creating your own self-care plan, fill your self-care plan with activities that you enjoy and that support your well-being. So be careful on this one, because we can just be filling it with just different things, but fill it out with things that you enjoy, not things I enjoy, but things that you enjoy that support your well-being. So for me, there's many things that I think of like, wow, I honestly feel so connected when I'm in nature. I honestly, as well, as I wake up, I like to get dressed, have a shower just to feel clean. For me, it's so small, those things don't cost anything in terms of going out in nature. But for me, I honestly know those are practices that I have to do. And also for me, I see as well, like when I wake up, I don't look at my phone. I feel I want to connect, in terms of my faith and my religion. I like to connect with that first before speaking to the outdoor world. So there's things that mean things to us individually. So write those things down that you believe help you support your well-being, and start to plan in terms of how you can practice that. So as you write these things down, keep it in a visible place. Don't put it under your bed, don't put it behind you, but put it in a place where you can see it every day, so you're reminded. Because even there's a saying that says write the vision and make it plain. So writing it plain, having out there so you can see the goals that you have and work towards it. So stick to your plan, and also practice the activities weekly. So stick to it. As I mentioned before, don't go all guns blazing and start with so many things. If you're finding this difficult, start with something small and expand as you become more, solid in that self-care practice. And also reassess how you're going at the end of the month, or every 3 to 4 within 3 months. Just keep yourself accountable. And I'll also as well like to add, self-care isn't some external thing. The same way that if we hadn't brushed our teeth, every day, we may think, wow, that's not right, that's not right. So in the same way, that is how self-care should come into our practices. Like for me, I honestly know that if I don't read my Bible every day and just meditate and just have that positive word, that won't be okay for me. So for me, that is actually like brushing my teeth. So whatever it is for you, whether it's nature, whether it's just you having that lovely breakfast in the morning, have that thing daily that you do that helps improve your well-being. Because as I mentioned at the start of the video, in terms of, being presented in terms of this racial trauma again, because of these practices that I have in place, I knew when that happened, I was going to do things, that I needed to help me in terms of having this healthy time of well-being. That was also talking about the situation, going to my support group, praying to God about the situation to just keep me safe. Also, I treated myself to a nice, good meal, having something to just, reward or treat myself was just really nice. So this is what I just have here in terms of creating your self-care plan. So reflections. So as this as well was in terms of my work that I did today. So a few hours ago, I did this presentation in terms of my microchips, and I was reflecting on terms of a cap. Since I've started this role, I became more conscious in terms of self-care practices, because since becoming a cap, I've honestly felt I've become more cognizant in terms of my race, in terms of things like, neurodiversity. I've become more aware of my differences, and I've seen as well how this can impact my work on a day-to-day basis. So I've realized that even before work, I need to practice self-care so I'm able to, perform the way I need to. And also when incidents happen, which may not, which may rub me a different way, or where I may feel vulnerable, or where I might feel unsafe on a day-to-day basis, I know that I can go back to the things I tend to do and also reflect and have those things in place. So I've honestly seen, self-care has been, I would say it's been my anchor, over these months. And I've really seen how self-care isn't selfish. It allows me to actually serve people better. And it's helped me as well just to keep my head strong as well, especially when I can, see, oh, this is going to happen on this certain day. I need to prepare myself for this. Or even like I said on Sunday, going through that unexpected feeling of just feeling discouraged or feeling disgusted about what happened. Because I'd been used to self-care and used to these practices, it had really helped me in overcoming and allow myself to push myself the next day to, go for a walk, to really to spend that time, meditating outside about the wonderful things that personally in my experience, because I'm a Christian, that God says to me. So this is my message: practice self-care even when things aren't going well. So this was a picture I made and I posted it on my Instagram. So if you're on Instagram, feel free to follow. And I hope this presentation was nice for you. I did expand it in comparison to this morning because this morning was only 10 minutes. And I thought to myself, let me just go slow, space, and be able to share this presentation. So I hope you enjoyed something new in terms of self-care. I hope you're able to take something new today. And please comment below, what are some self-care practices that resonate with you? And what did you learn today that was new to you? So see you later, all the best. And I'm going to chap away and get ready for preparing for something else that I have to do. So see you later and have a lovely day. This is Something Worth Seeing, where we help others help themselves. Bye.